Okay, what is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR365. What's going on, guys? This is going to be our very first episode of VR365 Community Spotlight, featuring special guest Shantomio or something like that. We're going to find out in just a minute. All right, it took me a little while longer to get this up and running than I thought, because check this out. Before I did the VR365 live episode, my dog wanted to go outside and I freaking forgot about him. And I put him outside. I totally forgot about my dog. It is raining hecka hard here, right? And so when that episode ended and I went back into my other room to like grab like an apple or something, you know, eat something to hold me over for an hour, my dog was outside. I see my dog covered in water, shivering and acting like he's gonna die. And so I had to let my dog in and clean him off, and that took like an extra 7 minutes that I wasn't planning. So that's why we're so late. It is all my dog's fault. Really, it's all my fault for letting him out and completely forgetting about him, and then he got soaking wet. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna try to call in to Shantomio from Holland, and so I'm going to go ahead and unmute my desktop audio here, and let me see if I can call him and get him on the line. Okay, here we go, guys. Let me get back up here. Let's see, where do I go to call? Oh, here we
go. Hey, what's up?
Hey, hello, how's it going? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Okay, so it's going to take a second here to get our levels good. Yeah, wet dog syndrome. I don't know if you heard at all, but, well, you probably have YouTube on mute. If you can go ahead and mute it, that would be good. I'm going to go ahead and switch over here to this scene right here. And so, yeah, so we are joined right now by special guest. Well, how should I pronounce that?
Yeah, so actually it's Shantomio. It's like Sean with Tomio.
Okay, Shantomio.
Yeah,
Pretty good. Okay. Yeah, and so we have some different pictures that are showing up on the screen here. We've got pictures of his cat and a couple of other pictures that are going to cycle in. I got to turn my camera view a little bit more so I'm centered over here. Okay, so let's see, how did we want to start? Oh, turn sound off on trailer. Yeah, let me turn this trailer down. We don't need that. And I might need to pump your volume up a little bit. And then we'll double check as we go along. Okay, so basically, so what we're doing here, guys, this is a VR365 Community Spotlight, Episode 1. And what I wanted to do is basically take a look at some of our community members here and kind of get their different ideas on different things that are going on in the VR gaming industry and what it's like for them in their country or wherever they're at, playing the different VR games they have, the VR systems they have, how they got into VR, and all these sorts of things. So we're just going to kind of do a basic interview is basically what we're doing here. And Shantomio, so why don't you tell me, first of all, what's a little bit of your gaming history? Like, when did you first get involved with video games? How young were you?
Yeah, of course. I was like 8 years old. I was in France, I think, and I saw this bar. We were at a bar, and I don't know, my dad and my mother got a coffee or something, I don't know. And there was like this big arcade machine, and yeah, with big pictures of animated people, and it was like real life. And I was like really hyped for that, and I saw that it was like Mortal Kombat, and I knew I wanted to have this game. Yeah, so that started it.
Way back when you were like 8 years old or so, right?
Yeah. I couldn't have a system. My parents were quite strict, and it was a few years later I could actually afford a system, and I got my Genesis. So in Europe, in Holland, it's called Mega Drive, and I got that Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, and 3 was out at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, so I gotta say, man, because like I was telling you this yesterday, but you can go ahead and tell it to all of us here on on the stream here is like I'm looking at your pictures, and like if I had to guess, I would guess that you were like 22 years old, or maybe 21 or like 19 years old or something. But you're saying you've played Mortal Kombat on the Mega Drive, which is like really, really old school, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm like 31 years old. Yeah, most of the I get it. You know, a lot of people think I'm way younger, and like 3 years ago, I had to show ID to get booze. Here in Holland, it's 18, and most of the time they were like, "What? What? You're 25, 26, 27?" And yeah, wow, it's all right.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful for you. Hey, you found the secret to youth. I don't know what it is, but I was telling us that I was telling you yesterday, instead of doing this show, we need to get you into a laboratory so we can figure out what are you doing over there to look like you're 10 years younger than you really are, because that is pretty amazing. Because you were talking about playing Mortal Kombat and Sega Genesis, and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's like 19 years old. Like, Mortal Kombat didn't even exist. You know, I mean, you were born way after Mortal Kombat, but apparently I'm completely off track here. So anyway, yeah, so you got started. Actually, why don't we talk about your parents for a brief minute here in terms of being strict? Because I've known people that have been in these kinds of families where, like, did they kind of feel like video games is just a total, utter waste of time, and like you're just going to waste your life away with video games? Was that kind of the idea, maybe?
I think the problem was that my parents, they wanted to promote creativity, and they said, yeah, you can just spend like an hour max on the computer or on the Genesis. I've had a computer as well, Windows 98 with a couple of games, but I couldn't play more than 1 hour because my parents thought it would damage the creativity I had in myself. Yeah, I should rather play Legos or stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's partly true, right? It is there's a lot of like kids nowadays, their parents don't care what they do, and they're just playing Fortnite for like 10 hours in a row. You know, like, I mean, they go to school, and then they come home, they spend like a half an hour on their homework, and then until the time they go to bed, it's just Fortnite, or maybe Apex Legends. Do you believe that, can somebody learn any kind of creative stuff through playing video games, or not really? Is it mostly just like an entertainment deal?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard question. If you're playing Fortnite, I don't think that boosts any creativity in you. Maybe just varying skins and stuff. I don't know. I think with certain games, it tickles some imagination and some thought. Like you know, Stanley Parable just made me question stuff. And there are games like, I don't know. Maybe what's Minecraft, when you create your own worlds. I think that helps creating creative minds. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're solving problems in games, right? I mean, you have to learn how to. I mean, it depends on the game. Some games are a little more mindless than others, but there's problem solving. You're using logic, you know, to figure out how to get through the game and stuff like that. So I don't think it's all bad, but yeah, I mean, there's some type of balance that we have to find between like only letting our kids play for like 1 hour and then, or letting them play all day long. You know, there has to be some kind of balance in between that. Let's see, what else could we go to? So you had a you had a Mega Drive there in Holland, and you were playing like Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2. What was the next platform that you really got on after that? Like, after you did that for a while, what was the next platform you got to?
Yeah, like the first thing I got was from a friend of mine. He had a small business, and he had those PlayStations, and the business was he was copying the CD-ROMs, and he said, "Ah, you have to get this PlayStation. It's quite expensive, but I can get you the games for almost free." So that was kind of bad, but at the time I was like, wow, yeah, man, I can play all the games for
Yeah,
for like
we've all done
nothing.
that. We've all done that. So was this PlayStation 1, the first one?
Yeah, PlayStation 1,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I actually remember. I had a PlayStation 1 way back in the 90s, and that was before I decided that, piracy is an absolute scourge of the earth. We shouldn't do this. But I remember back in the PlayStation 1 days, you could burn a game onto a CD-ROM, right? And there was a trick that you could do where you pop open the PlayStation, you take the other disc out, you put a disc in, and you close it. You got to like hold a button down at the same time, and you could get any game to play. Were you using that trick, or was it a different kind of a trick?
No, my friend he got some other friends, and they modded the thing so I could just pop in the CD-ROMs, the rewritable stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
So that
yeah.
was really easy. Yeah.
Now, but let me ask you, because one of the things I've brought up on our show before is I talk about less is more, and like when I was pirating stuff, like I'll admit it, there was some brief windows of time where maybe I got a lot of games really, in ways that are not good, basically. But I would have like every game under the sun, and for me, I found that if you have every single game, you don't have any game. You know what I mean? Because what happens is you have your PlayStation there. You've got a stack of 500 games you could play. You grab one game, you play it for a couple of minutes, and you're like, okay, let me grab another game. You play it for a couple minutes. You grab another game, you play it for a couple minutes, and you never really get deep into any of them. Was that kind of your experience too, or were you able to get deep into some of those games?
No, you're right. It's the one thing it was good for was that when friends came over, I got this stack of CDs, and they wanted to play lots of things, so that was good. But for me, when I was alone and I wanted to play something, I couldn't concentrate on just playing one game because I knew, oh, maybe this game is better, or this game, and this game is coming and it will be free as well. So it loses its worth, and it's a shame because you don't enjoy it as much as when you get the one game and you saved a lot of money for it, and it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something to that. You buy one game, you pay the full price for it, and it's a different thing. I mean, I'm not trying to be like the moral authority out there, but for me, it's experience. I've had experience with this, and this goes for like movies and TV shows. And see, Netflix is kind of a problem because it gives you everything, and people have realized that with Netflix. Like my wife, she will sign into Netflix and she's watching Netflix, and she spends more of the time in the menu. Look, and she'll go into a TV show for 10 minutes, and then she's like, let me see. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like the old piracy thing. And then also with emulators. Do you ever mess around with emulators because you do have that Mega Drive background?
Yeah, I do with all the emulators, but I got these stages in which I'm in. Like, then I wanna mess around for a month with emulators, and then I wanna try my PS3 again, or my PS2, or my Dreamcast, and then, but the one thing that's steady is VR, because right before I got into VR, I was like a little bit. I didn't feel the need to play games anymore because it was all a little bit of samey. You have this period in time when you don't find any motivation to play a flat game. And just around that time, I saw like the Project Morpheus, and I think it's a DK1 on various YouTube shows, and it got me excited for something more.
Yeah, so was it the unveiling of Project Morpheus? Was that like the first was that when you first heard about this second wave of VR? Because that was a little bit after like all the Oculus stuff had kind of started up. Did you end up missing, like, were you not paying attention when like the Oculus stuff was happening, and you just like somehow you locked into Project Morpheus?
No, in fact, I did. I had a friend that lived quite nearby, not such a good friend, but I knew him for a while, and I wanted to. He had his dad, and his dad got a company, and they could get the DK1, I think, for fairly cheap, or with some agreement or something. And so I got to try it over there, and yeah, it got me quite sick. I was like really sick afterwards.
Oh man. So after that, did you think like maybe VR isn't for you? How did you get back into like why did you buy a PlayStation VR? When was it that you bought a PlayStation VR? What year was that?
Yeah, so I got sick, but I played this roller coaster game, and I think it's a Tuscany demo as well, like the other girl has played, and I was amazed. I loved it, but I couldn't stay in it for like 3 minutes. I was freaking out, almost falling over. It was quite funny, but I really liked it. But afterwards, I got sick, so it wasn't a big problem. I saw the potential, and I thought like, I want to have this, but I didn't have a PC at the time. Yeah, just a bad PC that couldn't play anything. So I just let it go. It was too expensive. I didn't have a PC. And then I saw Project Morpheus, and I was kind of excited. I thought maybe I could buy this. It's from Sony, from PlayStation. I got myself a PS4, and yeah, that's when I jumped on when it went out. I pre-ordered it, I think, and day one, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Did that hit you're in Holland, right?
hmm
Okay, did that arrive in Holland in like before Christmas 2016 or did that come out in like 2017?
No, 2016. Yeah, I just
Okay.
just got it straight away. Yeah.
And just in general in Holland or even Europe altogether, it's PlayStation country, right? Like Sony PlayStation is very popular all throughout Europe, right?
Yeah. So go to this shop regularly. Tuesday is my day off, so I go to this guy, and I know him really good, and he tells me it's like 1/3 of the console sold is Xbox, and so two for it's a really small percentage of Xbox sold, and like I don't know, 2/3 is PlayStation, and the other third is shared by Nintendo and Xbox. So it's really popular. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I've always heard that Microsoft really wants to make inroads into Europe, but they haven't done a great job of it. I think they've done a pretty decent job in the UK, but like if you go to like Italy or Spain or Germany, it's like it seems like it's 100% PlayStation kind of over there. So you got yourself a PlayStation VR. This was back around Christmas of 2016. And what were some of the first games you played on that?
So there wasn't a lot of games I really wanted to buy, and I had to cough up quite a lot of money. I think it was 500 euro at the time, so that's translated like 520 or 550 US dollars. And I think I just bought one game. I think I bought. Uh, shit. I forgot. I just got PSVR Worlds. I think I paid for that because it wasn't included, and I think I had to buy the camera separately, so it was quite a lot of money. But the VR Worlds, I loved it. Were like these demos, and they were quite a bit longer than your normal typical demos because you paid for them. And the London heist, it blew me away. The fact that you can get out of the window in the car, there's a chasing scene, and you can shoot all the motorcycles, and yeah, it was like a dream came true. Yeah.
I think I've said it many times before that I believe PlayStation VR Worlds, I think it's very underrated. And like what you talk about, especially when you're in the car chase, the London heist, when you're on the freeway and when you're sitting next to that guy and he's driving the car and he hands you the gun and you got the motorcycle guy driving by, you feel like you're in an action movie, right? Like it's like a Michael Bay, it's like an action movie, and it was so well realized. Honestly, I think that scene, like I'm watching it right now, it's on a trailer. You're delayed a little bit, so you're probably not going to see it yet. But I was watching this scene, playing that scene with my PlayStation VR headset, and I felt wow, it's like I'm in a movie. Like they got really close here. All they have to do is just make the graphics better and better and better. That's all it is. Just keep improving the graphics and we're in an action movie, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's so immersive, and I love the little small things like smoking the cigar, and I don't know, there were a few things you had to do, and it was like really fun to do, and it made me smile like all the way through.
Absolutely. And what about like the shark cage thing? Did you ever like have anybody come over to your house, like a grandma or anybody or like an elderly person? Have you tried putting them in the shark cage?
Yeah, I think the shark cage, especially in the beginning when the PSVR, when there was a little bit of hype on it, a lot of people came over to my house and they were really interested. And I put them in the shark cage, and a lot of people really liked that. And I think it helped build up the hype. But the 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 thing is, in a couple of months, I think the hype blew away, and a lot of people, yeah, they weren't as interested in it at the beginning, and there was already a sort of decline in interest.
Yeah, it's kind of been a roller coaster ride, because it's like when it first came out, there's this initial wave of hype. Like anytime something brand new comes out, there's all that hype. But then what happens is like people try it and then it's kind of, the honeymoon period. We talk about the honeymoon period a lot. Do you experience that with some of these VR games where you'll get into a VR game and you're in it that first day and you think it's the most incredible thing ever? But then what happens is like a couple days later you realize, it's okay, but there's like the honeymoon period.
Yeah, I do definitely. I had that with Operation Warcade. I love the fact that you're in an arcade and then you're in the game and out of the game, and it was a lot of fun. And the first day I played that, it was like a most epic game ever. But the day after, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, it's cool, but let's try something else.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like, actually, you know what I'm going to do here, let's go ahead. I'm going to try this other mode. This is our little webby browser mode where you're still here, and I don't have the border around there. Jim Hall, Jim Hall helped me out with a border, but I don't have it included. But that's a different story. Let me see here. What I was going to do is let's go to PSVR catalog. I'm just curious of some of like the very earliest games you played, and we can sort by release date. Oh wait, no, oldest first. Yeah, we'll do oldest. Sort by, okay, oldest games first. Okay, so going back to the early days of PlayStation VR, did you ever get to try this game, Bound? Did you ever try Bound?
Yeah, yeah, I really like that one. I knew you liked it too. Yeah, I got it in the beginning, and I really love the artistic style and the rules. They're mesmerizing. It's insane. It's really really pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's incredible, and this is a love it or hate it game because like it seems like you got to be a certain type of person, I guess, to appreciate this because like somebody will get this, they'll play it for 2 minutes and they'll be like, "What the hell? This is lame." But I get it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is freaking beautiful! Look at this ballerina." There, the ballerina lady is like standing right in front of you, and she's like dancing around and moving along, and you feel like you can almost reach out and grab her. And then the backgrounds, like the procedurally generated worlds, that it's like a ocean. It's an ocean of like bricks and polygons and stuff that's just waving around in the background, and it's pulsating and breathing. And I felt like all of these worlds were quite magical in Bound. It was a magical experience, almost like somebody's nightmare.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Yeah, yeah, I have to say. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people didn't get into that game for whatever reason. But let's go ahead and bounce back here. Let me see some of the other, because we had launch games. Did you ever try Drive Club VR?
Yeah, I tried it, and I think a lot of people, I can handle a lot of games, but driving games, sometimes it makes me sick. And Drive Club VR was the worst. It was one of the first games I tried, and I could handle like everything until then, and then I tried Drive Club, and the resolution is god awful, and the driving is fine actually, and it looks alrightish, but got me really sick.
Yeah, all right ish. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Drive Club. Drive Club is the poster child for the Vaseline look. It's like you take Vaseline, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's this stuff. It's like petroleum jelly, is what it's called, right? And
Yeah, we got the same thing. Yeah.
okay, and you smear it like if you take a thin Vaseline and you smear it all over your screen, and it has like this kind of warped Vaseline look. But I think Drive Club is the champion for that. You know, the weird thing about Drive Club is I had the same problem. The first couple of days I played Drive Club, I had terrible motion sickness, like headaches, didn't feel good. But like the fourth day, it's like I had to like go through 3 days of pain and then I got over it, you know. But yeah, that kind of sucked. So we talked about PlayStation VR Worlds. Did you ever try Tumble VR?
Yeah, yeah. And that one as well. I really like that. The puzzles were pretty cool. It looked really good, and as you said, they're really polished. Only downside, I think it's a little bit more of the same, and it's such a simple concept. It gets boring in a while.
Yeah, it's usually pretty cheap though. A lot of times you can get this for like $5, $3. You know, it'll go on sale. And the thing that I liked about it though is like every little sound effect, every little menu, you know, there's just really good polish. I like it. That is Supermassive Games as a developer on that one. And you know, speaking of like an early Supermassive Games release, we can go down here. Let's go to page. Oh, well, right here, Rush of Blood. Did you ever do this one, Rush of Blood?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say yes to all of your questions
Yeah.
because I've tried them all. It's really good. Rush of Blood, I still play it sometimes because the roller coasters are really cool, and it still scares me sometimes. The first time I
Yeah.
had to play this with my girlfriend next to me, almost holding hands, and I'm such a wuss. But I don't know. I liked it. I really wanted to play, and now I can play it like no problem whatsoever. But yeah, I really like the jump scares and the motion of the roller coaster.
What did you think of the spider level? Like when you got to the main spider level, did that freak you out? Do you have a problem with spiders?
No, I'm okay with spiders, but the ghost, the girl that's screaming in your face, that's another story.
Yeah.
She got me.
Yep, absolutely. What about did you ever so like you don't have a Rift or a Vive or anything, so did you try Job Simulator on PSVR?
Yeah, and there you have one of the, I think already one of the problems of PSVR, because camera placement is such a big thing. You know, if you don't place it right with the right games, it's awful. Because I played Job Sim, and I had it, I think, down at the bottom of my television, and it looked up. But with Job Sim, that doesn't work right. I think you have to put it up. So I had to struggle a lot with the camera, and it's fun, you know. If it works, it's fun. But there you can clearly see the cone of vision. You get outside of it, you get too into it. It's quite annoying sometimes.
Yeah, so the thing that I've noticed is when it comes to the PlayStation VR camera, I feel like you have to put it in two different spots depending on whether you're sitting or standing. Do you leave your camera in one place?
Yeah, so it depends on the game. I just got this new game, VR Regate or something. It's like Time Crisis in VR, but really simple. And I have to put the camera like way up, almost at the level of my ceiling, which is quite high. But my driving games or most single player games, puzzle games, I can just play it regularly with the camera on top of my television. Yeah.
Did you end up playing Robinson the Journey on PSVR?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, yeah, you made the comparison with Eden Tomorrow, and actually, I didn't like it that much. Robinson the Journey. I thought the graphics were really good, but everything was so so scripted, and everything was, I had to do stuff over and over again because I got stuck, and then you see the same animations, and it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but you see the fakeness of the world when you see the same animations and the same movements all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So like you've pretty much played everything on PlayStation VR, probably. I mean, you're pretty heavy into that. What about like in Holland? See, here in the USA, we have these things called Redbox, where you could rent movies and they rent games if there's a physical disc. Do you guys
Hmm.
have any places there where can you rent a physical disc for a PlayStation VR game, or do you just have to buy everything?
So we have libraries, and some of them rent games, but most of the time you have to buy them. We have a local store that's called Netgame, and we have Game Mania that's in Europe, I think Game Mania. And but both of them don't have a lot of PlayStation VR games. Most games you have to get online. And it's such a shame because I rather purchase my games physical.
What do you think about that? Like the whole physical, like so if you buy a physical game, can you sell it on eBay if you don't like it anymore? Do you guys have something similar to Craigslist?
Yeah, yeah, Craigslist, eBay, we have the same thing. It's called Marktplaats. It's like marketplace, and yeah, yeah, and PlayStation VR games are really easy to sell off, especially when they're not printed in big quantities, and you can get quite a lot of money for your games. I actually sold Robinson the Journey, I think, and I got like a new price for it because it was quite rare at the time.
Yeah, there's not a lot of copies of that. If you want like the physical version of Robinson the Journey, it's rare, and Job Simulator is incredibly rare for some reason. It's weird. It's weird how that works, but I'm a much older guy, and like people from my generation, we like the idea of owning a physical thing, that we have like legitimate ownership of it. And I know technically you don't really own it. I know. If you get down to the technical, you got a license to play it, but it doesn't stop us from putting it on eBay or Craigslist, or you take the game and you give it to your little nephew. Maybe he has a PlayStation VR and you give it to somebody. And mostly we deal with a lot of people that, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, Windows Mixed Reality. Everything is digital. It's a digital world. You can't sell any of your old games, so it kind of like it's this, But then there's the convenience factor. Doesn't it bother you to have to like get up and hit eject and take the disc out?
Yeah, it does, and especially when you get the game and you got a day one patch and you have to wait for like 5 minutes because you have to download like 10 gigs or 30 sometimes. Then you think, oh, why did I buy it physically? Because I have to wait, I have to switch my discs, I have to check if it's in there. Yeah, it bothers me sometimes, but I rather have that hassle than have it digitally because. I have one friend that got a PSVR because here in the Netherlands, actually, the PSVR isn't that popular. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I only got one friend that has it, and I got quite a lot of friends that play games, but they're not really into it. It's such a shame.
What about like in the Netherlands? Do you guys have a lot of VR arcades at all, or do you see those
No,
very often? No.
no, not at all. It's such a shame. I hear you talk, and a lot of YouTubers talk about VR arcades, and I really want to go there, but I think maybe there's one in Amsterdam, probably, but not nearby me. Yeah.
Yeah, just looking at chat, actually, I need to pop my chat out over here. Jim Hall says, no, we don't. He's like, we like digital games. Because I was saying people in my age group, they like physical things. And Jim Hall is saying, no, that's not true. We like digital. We like to be able to bounce from game to game to game. Yeah, it's convenience. It's basically convenience versus ownership. And see, the thing is, my problem is there's so many. Oh man, what did I put on? I put on some weird thing. Hold on a second. Got to change my game trailer here. I was just trying to grab like just a rando trailer. Let's see here. Let me grab something else. Trying to see if I could find something PlayStation related. Hold on here. Oh, why don't we put the Joshua Bell thing on? That's kind of cool. Did you ever, what about on PlayStation VR? See, one of the things that sucks for people that only have PlayStation VR is I don't think PlayStation VR gets enough experiences, non-games. Like, did you ever try the Joshua Bell where, he's doing the violin and you see him standing right there? Have you tried any of that stuff?
Yeah, I think I basically tried everything that came out, also the experiences, and I liked the Joshua Bell experience, even though I didn't really enjoy his music. But I think I don't need to have all those experiences because when I put on my headset, it's a little bit of a hassle. You have to plug it, you have to put your camera in the right position. Yeah, and it only takes about 30 seconds or 40, but it's a hassle. When you're just gonna watch a video for like 1 minute or a couple of minutes, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it to to put on the headset. And there's no interactivity. If there is interactivity in some of the experiences, I think it's a plus. I know I can see why it's in VR, but I don't know. I can't see the future of movies with VR unless there's interactivity.
Okay, but what about, what you're talking about, though, you're talking about friction. And friction is the single biggest problem we have. And it's a worse problem than resolution, field of view, because we have people, there's people, they buy an Oculus Rift, they buy an HTC Vive, they have a gaming computer, they get really excited. And then they jump into PCVR, and they do it for a while, and they're playing Brookhaven Experiment, and they're playing Arizona Sunshine, and they're playing all these games, and it's really exciting. But then the honeymoon period ends, and then what happens is there's two things that happen, I think. Number one is all their friends are playing Fortnite. All their friends are playing Apex Legends. All their friends are playing Call of Duty or Battlefield or whatever it is. And those games aren't out there in VR, so that's part of the problem. And then also their friends don't have a VR setup, so even if Battlefield was in VR, their friends can't do it because they don't have a VR setup. So that's part of the problem. But the other problem is people, it's all the wires. It's all, like Gary talks about how you have to strap yourself in. It's like you're putting on all this equipment and you're getting set up, and it's a process. Now, other people will say, hey, I could do it in about 20 seconds. It's not that big of a deal. But not everybody has their VR stuff laying around where it's all set up. Sometimes they put their stuff away. When we think about PlayStation VR 2, do you think Sony is going to be able to make some major improvements to the friction?
Yeah, I have to hope so because if they're not bringing it to the table, it will be a problem. I think the friction is quite high because if you have kids or dogs or just people walking around in your house and you have your headset there laying, and it's quite expensive still, and they can damage it. And even if you're playing and there's always problems with that. So I think if you have a wireless headset, you're more free to go wherever you want to play and make sure it's in a room where there's nobody in and where you can just take your time and play the game without worrying about people being around you, cats, like damaging the cable. Yeah.
Do you think Sony will be able to do it with the next one, or do you think we're going to have to wait a little while for wireless?
If not, I'm gonna switch to the Quest, and I'm gonna leave the PlayStation for what it is, just and wait. Yeah.
What do you think about, like, for example, like the Oculus Quest? Do you think that will make any kind of a dent in Holland or Europe? Do people, like, do you think people really know about this stuff over there, or is it the same as here in the USA where, like, basically people that are really into tech kind of know about this stuff, but average people don't know anything about it?
Yeah, probably exactly the same because when I talk about a Quest, and I have this one friend who's really into tech, yeah, he knows about it. But even my friend who's really into movie and who's somewhat interested in these kind of things doesn't know about the Quest. So I think it isn't that well represented in the media, and no, there's not enough attention to it.
Yeah. What was I gonna say, man? I had something on my tip of my tongue. Oh, have you ever seen like every once in a while we'll see a commercial on TV like Oculus Go, like Wiz Khalifa or somebody, some commercial. Have you ever seen a commercial on television for Oculus or anything like that?
Access, no. Vive, I don't think so. I think I've seen PlayStation VR once or twice, but rarely. It's more on the internet, on YouTube, where you see those kinds of things, but not on regular television. No.
What about like all like people that are your age, your friends and stuff that you might have also played games with them on other platforms? Do they like are they playing Fortnite and Apex Legends and or like Zelda Breath of the Wild on their Switch? What are other people doing that are kind of your age that aren't into VR?
Yeah, so I see a lot of people play games because I work in a school as well, as the other girl you were interviewing, and it's a college, and like the young people are playing Apex Legends, Fortnite, like everywhere else in the world. But the people my age, mostly couch co-op or these smartphone games where you have to interact with each other, like draw things or make words with each other, and all really social things. And some of them are playing single player games, but it's mostly on PlayStation. Your Red Dead and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever miss that? Do you ever think, man, maybe I should just quit VR and go back to flat?
I have these periods in time where I just want to lay off like for a week, and then the novelty of the VR comes back, and you see why you want to get in the world and how much it adds. So, um, yeah, no, I don't really want to go back just for a couple of days. That's all right. Yeah.
Did you see Ready Player One? What do you think about like the long-term future of VR? Do you think we're going to get our entire bodies into the game and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, so I didn't see Ready Player One, but when I look at a little bit to the nearer future, I think we don't want to expect VR to be a big. Yeah, we want to, but I don't think we can expect VR to be a big thing. I think it will stay for a long time, like only 10% max of the gaming business, because it will always be a little bit of friction, and there will always be people against it, and they have to accept gaming like this, and they can still play flat. There's still a lot of fun in flat, so I don't think it's necessary to switch. You can do both, but why switch? You can do both.
You can? No. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I don't know. It's like, because see, I've been playing games for so long that when I was back in the Atari days or any of these like way old days, like I could only dream of being inside a video game. And here I am, I'm inside a video game. And so it's like the idea of sitting on a sofa and having a TV over there, and you're just sitting on your sofa. I know it's comfortable and I know it's convenient. And you just have your controller and everything's good, but it's like you got a little window on the world. But VR, the world, you're in the world. But yeah, there's lots of friction and the resolution isn't there. Our field of view isn't there. But you don't think there's going to be a time where the photorealism is so good, the resolution is so high that even regular people won't be able to help it. They'll have to experience it. Like they won't be able to resist.
Yeah, I really think there will be a time, and I don't know if it's with. I think it's with VR, but most devices will be VR, AR. Yeah, we'll have the both in them, and I think there will be a time. But there's so much that has to change for that to really, really yeah, work, you know, like really light weight sunglasses or stuff, and what you're saying, photorealistic graphics, yeah, it has to be dialed in and really easy for everyone to enjoy. Yeah.
What about, do they have any location-based VR entertainment centers anywhere? Like, where would you have to travel if you wanted to try something like The Void or, some of these location-based VR entertainment?
Yeah, I think Amsterdam, and that's not that far away, but I think there are only a few like free in the whole country. So I don't know, and I have to go. I won't go there. I think maybe if I'm there, but I have a, a family and lots of appointments with friends and stuff. I don't have that
Yeah.
much time to go. Yeah.
Have you ever thought of getting involved in like a business that would involve VR or getting somehow working in the world of VR? Or is it just like a side entertainment thing for you pretty much?
Uh, mm, so I work at a school. I'm a teacher as well, and sometimes I feel like yeah, it would be cool to create a small app for my students. But I'm not seeing a future, any near future where I could really blow up. And as a teacher, I really like teaching, and it's something that isn't easily replaced. It's really rewarding and gives me a lot of energy. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What about, like, I was talking to Short Power 24. One of the things we were talking about is education in VR. And see, this is where I kind of feel like you are missing out a little bit by not having experienced the stuff that is on the Rift or the HTC Vive, like stuff that's on Steam. There's a lot more non-gaming stuff, more not necessarily education, but it can kind of be used towards education, like Google Earth and all this stuff for geography. Do you believe that VR and education will come together? AR and education as well, but I mean, maybe 10 years from now. But do you believe that that future is inevitable?
Yes, I think so. I think, especially for AR, it will be inevitable. Sorry, hard word for me to pronounce. Um, yeah, I think so. Yeah, but not in the short term.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on AR? Because a lot of people in my chat, they don't think AR, like, they believe in the AR future. They understand that it's inevitable. The AR future is inevitable, but they don't see it as a gaming thing. They see it as everything but gaming, and they think when they're going to do gaming, it's going to be VR. Do you think AR has gaming possibilities?
I think the hard thing with this is to imagine how it's gonna work because we've all played some AR stuff on our smartphones or even with the Vita. They had this. I have a PlayStation Vita and they had some AR games, and you know what? That's my image of AR games, and they suck. I don't like them. So there's nothing concrete to look at and to see how it's gonna be. So I think I have to wait. I cannot judge right now.
But I'm sure you've seen like some Magic Leap videos, and like in another week here, we're going to have HoloLens 2.0 at Barcelona, Spain, Mobile World Congress. Could you imagine though, just in your field of view, where you see your regular house, but there's something coming out of the wall, and you're shooting it, and like or you go out into your backyard and there's things coming up out of the ground, or you see UFOs that are flying around and you have to shoot them. Will that ever be, could you ever imagine that being very compelling, or you just think it's going to be something you do for a couple of minutes and you're bored of it?
Yeah, I hate to say it. I think it's gonna be like a gimmick. Yeah, they say it about VR, and I hate it when they say it about. It sounds a little bit like a gimmick. I have this 3D projector, and I love to watch some movies in 3D, but I have to admit it's a little bit of a gimmick, and it's the same thing with the VR glasses. It's cool, and maybe I could watch some television with it, but I can't see myself playing games in my house, pointing at the wall or sitting on the couch, making use of the couch. I don't know. No.
Yeah. Okay. So you're. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Didn't you watch that one show I had? 3D is dead. 3D
Yeah,
is
I
dead.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. But you have a 3D projector. Did you used to game on your projectors?
Yeah, man, Doom in 3D. You've played it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doom 3, it was on the PlayStation, and Motor Storm, it was awesome with the smoke coming
Oh
in your
yeah.
face.
I loved it. I
Great.
loved it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the when PlayStation, PlayStation 3, when
Yeah.
Wipeout, remember Wipeout in 3D? Oh, what do you think about Wipeout on PlayStation VR?
Yeah, man, it's awesome. It's the 3D thing, but blown up. You're right now you're in it, and it looks really good, really clean, and it works really well. And if you're used to the handling of the aircraft, it's amazing to play. It goes so fast. It's a lot of fun.
What would you say, like, so if somebody just bought a PlayStation VR, a friend of yours, and they're like, what four games should like, what do you think are the cream of the crop? Like, if you could erase your memory of everything you've played on PlayStation VR so you could have a brand new, like, you could experience it brand new, what would be your go-to games?
Yeah, I would like to piss myself again in Resident Evil 7 because I really loved the game. It's amazing. So that one, I think I'd erase my memory for Farpoint. I really love that as well. The mechanic of like reloading your gun and changing your gun and yeah, it's really good. Farpoint, I think, with the aim controller. So I would definitely want to enjoy that again. Skyrim, I've played a lot of hours inside Skyrim, and I'm one of those guys that can play for like 4 hours straight without having any problems whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So the aim
And
controller, you like Firewall and Farpoint, you like the aim controller, works pretty good, right?
yeah, I love it when you know where to place the camera and when you know how to handle it, and it's a little bit of an inconvenience again, a little bit of friction, but if you know how it works, it works. Yeah, I think flawless. So, yeah, I really enjoy that. It feels so immersive to have that gun in your hand. It's a little bit of a weight to it, a little bit of rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, except when they lose tracking, you got to shake it, to get it back. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so Resident Evil 7, yeah, you know what? Main fan is asking me how long I played Resident Evil 7. Not very long at all. I got stuck somewhere in that game, and every time I go back to it, I'm always stuck in the same spot. I need to watch like some kind of like YouTube walkthrough video, Do you watch those, or do you just try to bang your head like if you're stuck on a game?
Yeah, I get the same thing as you. If I know I'm stuck in a game, I won't play it again. So I have to tell myself, no, you're not gonna stop. You're gonna watch a video on YouTube and just figure it out that way. Yeah, you'll be spoiling the game. Whatever. You can continue playing it. And I did it, I think, twice with Resident Evil 7, and it was definitely worth it. It's so much fun. I love that game.
Firewall, for example, like that's one of your favorites, right? Or you like
Yes.
that? Do you
Yeah.
play a lot of online? Do you try to like would you like a lot more online games in VR where you're playing against other people like Rigs or Starblood Arena?
Yeah, I think that goes back to the other point of the problem with VR. You're talking about people next to you playing other games, and I would love a friend of mine or someone playing Firewall or another game online, and I'd be playing that forever because it's so much more rewarding to have an experience, and you can have the memory with a friend and talk about it with a friend, a real friend. Yeah, I have met a lot of people online in the community, and Firewall's really good, but it's not the same. I'd like to have a friend playing the game with me, but VR is too small for that.
In
And
the same room, you mean?
No. Yeah, maybe as well, but also online. A friend of mine that lives nearby, and we can meet up sometime and talk about it, or call each other. You know, and what friends do, or it adds so much if you both have played a game in VR and play together sometimes and talk about it. It makes so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. We're kind of running out of time here. So, what do you think is going to be your next? So, are you tempted by some of these other platforms? Like, well, let me ask you this: what about making a gaming PC? Is it just like the money? It's just too damn expensive to do it, right?
Um, yeah, that's one part, but I think the biggest part is when I see you guys having computers that break down, and I know that's me. You know, if I buy a PC and I make one, or I get some made, it will break instantly, and I can't get my games running, and the DLL, I have to download stuff, and oh my, it's gonna give me a headache. I want to play. I don't want to fiddle around for like 2 hours to get a game to play. So, no, I don't see myself buying a PC.
Do you have any friends though that are hardcore PC gamers where they like to do all that? They like to fiddle. They like to constantly upgrade their video card.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Haven't they ever said, "Come on, it's no biggie. You'll be able to do it"?
Yeah, they did, but I know I've been in the Windows 98 era. I've been a little bit into PC gaming with Voodoo cards. I don't know what's it called again, but
Yeah,
and yeah,
3DFX.
yeah, that one. Yeah, but man, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, no, I remember the 3DFX days. I loved that. Do you remember when the Unreal, the first Unreal, not the multiplayer Unreal, but the single player Unreal? It was like 1998, I think.
Yeah, that's exactly the time when I was playing. Yeah, I loved that game, but I liked the Unreal Tournament and the Quick Free Arena way better, I think.
Yeah, Kev Gret says my computer only breaks down 4 times a week. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's more like maybe twice a month. Twice a month my computer breaks, and then after that it's good. Well, what do you think? What do you think might be your next major purchase in terms of this type of technology? Are you gonna wait around first? Well, actually, let me ask you this. My prediction is November 2021 for PlayStation VR 2. Are you going to be able to wait all the way till November 2021, or do you think it's going to come sooner?
I'm not able to wait till that. I think it will come a little bit sooner than that. I think the beginning of 2020, but I'm not quite sure. There's truth in what you said about buying a platform, a new platform, the gaming console, and the VR headset. I think Sony won't see money in that, so they won't do that. So if it comes that late, no, I'm not gonna wait for that. I think I'm gonna jump on the Quest, or maybe something else. I don't know.
So, like, the Quest is coming up here just a couple of months away. Are you going to, you're going to let it come out and you're going to see what the reactions are before maybe possibly jumping on it right away? If you really got excited by the Quest, would you consider selling all of your PlayStation stuff and like putting all of that money towards the Quest, or would you just add the Quest as an extra option?
I would never sell my PSVR. I have too many fun memories and too many games that I come back to. So no, not at all. No, but maybe there's a little bit longevity to the PSVR, the version one, and it sounds crazy, but I think if the controllers get the thumbstick or the 3D rudder or the shoes work like heaven, maybe I'd be playing some more of that and just wait on it.
Do you think Sony, because like a lot of people on the PlayStation VR subreddit, they really believe that Sony could just come out with a new controller out of the blue. I don't think. See, the problem is it's too late. It's too late for that. We missed the boat, right? So you got to wait for PlayStation VR 2. We're not going to get a new controller. We're stuck with the moves. Are you kind of surprised though that some developers have figured out how to use the moves pretty good. Like, have you played Red Matter or some of these other games where you just hit the button and you move forward?
Yeah, there some games work if you don't do a wield, and if you don't have to use both hands for shooting, then the locomotion can work, but it's still, yeah, I got used to it, so it works fine for me. Yeah, I can't complain, but it would be better if I could do a weed spell cast with two hands and walk at the same time and strafe and turn and and make it easier to do that. That'd be better. I haven't played Red Matter actually. I want to try that, but it's not on sale yet.
Really good, really good. They should have a demo. They should really have a demo for that. What do you think is the best example of somebody that's done the move controllers where, you've got two hands and you're moving through the world with free locomotion? What do you think is the best example of that you've seen on PlayStation VR?
It's hard to say because I got used to the Skyrim locomotion system. It's the same as in, I think, Borderlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of other games, and I got used to it, so it works. And I think for the type of game, it's alright. But I think there is not an optimal locomotion style for the moves. It's just not. It's not made for it. So it's such a shame.
Okay, one last question. We got to get out of here because I got to pick up my son from college. But one last question is, over like the last couple of months, like what do you think is the best PlayStation VR game to come out in, like, say, the last few months? Like, you got Borderlands 2 VR, Astrobot, or Red Matter, or any of these other games that have come out more recently. What do you think is the best?
Yeah, it's like what everybody says. It's Astrobot because it has so much small things tuned into it. It makes so much use of the VR, of the controller, of the rails, of the underwater scenes. There's so much fun stuff to do. I think they did a really good job with Astrobot.
Yeah, have you finished that one all the way through?
Yeah, I tend to finish my games, Anthony.
Yeah. I'm still on the level. I'm on the last level I was on Astrobot is the like the Japanese level where you're like, you're shooting those things out and you're knocking down the trees.
Yeah, it's a good level. Yeah, I like it, but it's a little hard sometimes when you have to shoot the stars and jump from platform to platform, but it's fun to do.
Actually, I'm one level farther. I'm on the level with the lava, the hot lava. Like right after that. Right after the Japanese level, there's a hot lava level. That's actually where I'm at. I forget if it's like World 5 or World 6 or whatever. But man, this was my favorite level, the construction level. It was so beautiful, huh? Like you see just looks like, it reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog. Like you appreciate the Mega Drive.
I love all the Sonic games. Yeah, not all the Sonic games, but the ones on the Mega Drive and the Dreamcast versions are pretty good as well.
Yeah, see, that was the level right there where you're flinging the thing. Yeah, it's a great game. And wasn't it amazing? Like when you were first playing it, could you believe that every level, some new mechanic would come out of the blue? Like they just kept outdoing themselves. Every level.
No, like in every level, I was, shoot, I think it's gonna get boring. And then, like, the second I thought that they brought something new to the table, and I was smiling from ear to ear, it was really good. Yeah.
Have you put your girlfriend or anybody else into Astrobot just because it's so cute, to let them see what it looks like or anything like that?
Yeah, I did. I put my girlfriend in there, but she's a heavily prone to motion sickness. So the level it walks forward, I guess, and she gets motion sickness from there. Yeah.
Do you think though that they're like, I don't know, I have this belief in my head that some people, it's psychological, like they expect to be motion sick and then they are motion sick,
Wow, that's a hard question. I think so because I know for myself, when I go into Drive Club, I really have this doom feeling like, I'm probably gonna get sick, and yeah, I get sick, and it's one of the few games I get sick in, and yeah, it could be like an effect you're describing.
Yeah. Well, at least with like older people and stuff, like I'll be like, "Hey, I could show you this VR." They're like, "Oh no, I'm going to get all dizzy. I'm going to," they already made a decision. They're going to get dizzy, and so they don't want to do it. But I got to get out of here. Man, it's been a great conversation with you, Shantomio. I really appreciate talking to you for this time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It was a lot of fun to talk about all these things. Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll probably have to have you back on again, a little bit further in. We could talk about some more like we could have talked about Eden tomorrow. We could have talked about a lot of like recent PlayStation VR games and stuff. So maybe we could have you on again and talk some more, just like really get into PlayStation VR games we've been playing lately and stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Maybe the state of VR, but that comes for another time. Yeah, of PSVR. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put you on mute here in just a minute here, but I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate this. This is awesome to be able to have guests on here and to do this every once in a while. And I hope to, do a lot more of this, but thanks so much. Episode 1 of the community is always going to be you. You were episode 1, so I really appreciate it.
Cool. See you. Bye.
Okay, take it easy. All right. Okay, so yeah, that was Shantomio checking in and doing this little community spotlight here. This is something that we're going to continue to do. And so let me go ahead and actually get on my little outro logo on the screen here because I got to get out of here. My son is probably waiting right now for me to pick him up, so I do got to hurry up and get out of here. But if you might be interested, we'll switch back over to our regular window here. If you would like to get into one of these shows, it is absolutely possible. Just go ahead and shoot me an email at info@vrgamerankings.com, info@vrgamerankings.com, and then I can put you in the loop for possibly being on one of these episodes. One thing I have to mention though is I don't want to do too many of these where it becomes kind of played out and old and we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So I don't want to overload with too many of these, but if you are interested and you want to be on a community spotlight episode, shoot me an email and we can absolutely do this. I think it's fun. It gives us a different idea of the things that you're into and the platforms you're playing, what it's like in your area, and all of those kinds of things. We can get into that kind of discussion. So absolutely shoot me an email and we can do that. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this particular episode of VR365. And I will see everybody tomorrow. So have a good one. Take it easy. Later.